Yo, what's up guys? It is me, Double D. Now, from ever when I've been young, people have always been asking me, how is it that you are not the same color as your father and your mother? How is it that your sister is really black and you're just like half black? And I always tell them one very simple thing. Are you seeing what the birthplace is saying? That's right. I was born in São Paulo, Brazil. So, seeing from the title, I went back to Brazil. So this whole story started on a Tuesday night when I got a FaceTime call from my sister. I took the FaceTime call and got this incredible, I still can't describe it, incredible message. And that was one very simple message actually. She had found our biological mother. I went to work, then went home to my parents' house. When I arrived at my parents', the first thing that I did was pack my passport because that was still at my parents' house. And also I grabbed a few pictures so we could give those to family members in Brazil. And I went to sleep. And that was actually my night at my parents' house. It was really quick and a really short night because I had to wake up really early because my flight would leave at 9:55 after midnight. So the big day was there. It was Thursday and my flight was leaving at 9:55 AM. So the first thing that I had to do was walk all the way over to the station, grab the intercity to Schiphol, also the airport, and then my flight would leave at 9:55 towards São Paulo, Brazil. So I arrived in São Paulo and it was late, very late in the evening, and my sister picked me up from Røde, if I pronounced it right, highly likely not, the airport. But then we arrived at the hostel. Now the hostel was pretty okay. We did have like separate places to sleep, like separate for men and separate for women. So after I was done unpacking, I walked back up to see my sister. We actually talked and I met this really awesome lady, and she's known by the name Louise Edimo, if I pronounced this right, but by the whole world she's known by the name of Mother Africa. After we were done talking, we went back down and we went to sleep. It was a long flight, so I really wanted to sleep, and yeah, it was just a long day for me. So Friday started early in the morning. We had to wake up, I think it was before 10, to get breakfast. After that we would go into Brazil to see our grandmother. My sister had found our grandmother in Brazil and we were planning on going there Friday. Mother Africa was kind enough to help us make this all possible because, very simply said, in Brazil they speak Portuguese and I don't speak any Portuguese. My sister doesn't speak any Portuguese. We wouldn't be able to talk with anybody, even with our own family, because they only speak Portuguese. Mother Africa just said, well, I'm just gonna help you, and it was awesome to have somebody with us that actually spoke the language because that made everything so much easier. We went by foot to the subway. From the subway we walked to this church. This house had been like designed from the inside as like a church and like a little shop. And we walked in there, we were sitting down for like 5 minutes, and then this woman came through the door. And the crazy part is I didn't recognize her. My sister also didn't recognize her, but like the feeling of her walking in, we already knew like this is the one. Yeah, first few minutes just hugging, crying, and then because we had Mother Africa with us, she was able to translate the whole conversation between us. In one way it's like, I don't want to say awkward, but hard, because you're talking to somebody like close to you, like family, but the whole conversation is delayed. It goes through a whole long process, but just having the possibility to even talk to, you know, family, that was just crazy. And I didn't say blood because this is very interesting. Like, you know, I've been adopted, but this is really like blew my own mind. Our grandmother adopted our mother. Romana is her name, and thank you for adopting our mother. Romana actually invited us to get lunch at the church, which was like really nice. We had lunch there, it was perfect food. So after that meeting we went outside and we split up with Mother Africa. We walked just through the streets of Sao Paulo, and my sister took me to this place, and I can't remember the name, but it was a graffiti street. It has beautiful images. I say images because they're just done so beautifully, and there were like street artists, and I could do this thing with this bubble. It was an amazing experience. I later on, like 500 meters from that street, also met this French dude, which actually inspired me to get this GoPro setup, which I'm using right now. So yeah, I just kept on learning. It was the best experience so far, you know, already. And we're just on the Friday. Sunday. Sunday was the second most crazy day for me. Sunday I met my family, and with my family I mean my aunt, my other aunt, my uncle, and my 13-year-old brother. The day started out with us waking up at the hostel, having breakfast like normal, and after that we met up right in front of our hostel, and our aunts would just arrive over there and would go into Sao Paulo, have something to drink. My first aunt arrived with her, you know, husband, my uncle, and the crazy part was, I wanted to film this for you guys, like meeting them for the first time, but I saw my little brother, and I was like, damn. But what I'm trying to say is, like, the resemblance that I saw was just crazy. And I remember one of the most early friends that I made in the Netherlands, called Esme. If you're watching this, thank you. Always said that my smile, this little smile that I have, was like the David smirk. And right there in Brazil, I saw my brother doing the same smile. My other aunt arrived, my uncle arrived, and the hard part about this all was I didn't speak any Portuguese, and I still don't, and I'm gonna learn it. My sister understands it because she has been there for like 2 months, but it was hard for me because I couldn't say anything to them. The only way of like communicating that we had was via Google Translate. So like you see in the pictures, we had to like type it on our phone, then give our phone to them so they could type something back, and that was how it, you know, went over and over. So finally we had 2 translators arriving, and when I say translators, I mean 2 friends that my sister made while at a festival in Brazil, and one of the names was Vasco, and Vasco is very simply said a friend that my sister met in Brazil on a festival. Vasco, an awesome guy. Vasco is very good at speaking Portuguese and translating it to English and back and forth. So Vasco really helped us that day. Translating, and Vasco had a friend that he brought, and for the love of God, I'm so sorry dude, I can't remember your name. But he sat next to me that day, and we talked, and he translated like the messages that I had from my family and so forth. So we sat down for like 4 or 5 hours just talking and looking around, you know. I'm looking around, looking at Brazil, you know, looking how Sao Paulo looks like. So, it is Monday, and I went to see my biological mother after 20 years being separate. And I need to explain the situation before I can even talk about this situation. I've talked with my sister, and she's okay with releasing this part of the information. I'm 21 years old. My mother, at this moment, is 36 years old. My mother had me at a very young age and was not able to support me, either my sister or anybody else. And very simply said, my mother right now is in a Brazilian prison. The realization for me for this was one thing. Yes, we found her. So we arrived at the prison, and the first thing that we were told was like, we couldn't bring our bags inside. We could only bring our passports and, you know, ourselves. We couldn't bring anything else. No phone, no keys, nothing. So we handed our bags over at this like truck stop, I think, and then would go back with only our passports. So we were led into the prison. We had to walk for I think 200 meters. You know, they checked our passports, we went to a scan, seeing if we're not having anything in our body or anything with us. And then we came at like the second ring. And we went through the second ring. There was a building, really beautiful building actually. And we went inside and there was this really big hall, like this open hall with all like chairs to the side and this big like glass table with like the miniature of the whole building. And very simply said, the building looked beautiful, and that really calmed me down, like knowing the place looked like this instead of all of the things that are like brewing up in your head when you're like thinking of a prison or thinking about somebody like living, you know, on the streets in Brazil. We were instructed to like sit on the chairs and wait, and yeah, this can like take from a few minutes to a few hours. I was, you know, patient and just waiting, drinking cups of water. I was stressed. So this moment came where my mother, like my biological mother, actually like came through the door, like, and not in chains, like it is a normal way of meeting, like totally different than you have in mind. Just, you know, I want to don't. It's not normal clothes. Everybody has like this, of course, is uniform. But just a normal woman. My body. Sorry guys. So there was this woman, my biological mother, standing, you know, in front of the door, and I was looking at her, and you know, she had tears in her eyes, and I wasn't like sure because I had seen so many people come and go through that door. So I was like, yeah, waiting till like I got the confirmation, and then I was sitting there, and my sister, I heard it in like my ear going, "Get up, that is your mother." And I was like, no way. We walked up to each other, held each other for I don't know how long, and when, you know, we let go of each other, I looked, you know, at her. And again, that same smile behind all of the tears is that same smile that I have. And that, you know, like I said, seeing the resemblance, it was crazy. We sat down on the chairs on the side, and we talked. We just talked, and something really cool. The night before I came, my mother heard that I would come the next day, and she made this for me. This is a stuffed animal that my mother made in prison for me, and yeah, this is crazy. I will always keep this near me, and yeah, I can't explain it in words what I felt and what I'm feeling like looking at this. So after a while we had to go, and we had like 3 hours. I think we were there at 12 and we had to leave at 3. I was really calmed down, like I said, you know. I was satisfied to see like the situation that she was in wasn't like things that I had seen on TV about prisons in Brazil or Thailand or wherever. It was a beautiful building. My mother was okay. She told me that she was okay. It's hard to put this in words, but I was satisfied with all of the things that I got to know that day, the questions that I got to ask, the answers that I got, and just the, you know, seeing my biological mother for the first time. So my sister and I after that had to go. So we went back and picked up our stuff, brought it to the hostel which my sister had booked. This would be my last day in Brazil, and I didn't want to like sleep in the place that my sister had booked. I had saved up some money, so I would use the money to like have a better hostel for the last night. So I changed from hostel to hotel, paid 50 euros for one night, and I slept 9 floors up. I had a beautiful view of the whole city. It was an awesome night. I watched a few Flash episodes on my phone. I took a bath to really like let everything sink in and just think about what had happened that day. I went to sleep and had an awesome night rest. But I'm going on way too long right now. I just want to end this video right here, and with very simply said, thank you to Mother Africa, also Louise. Thank you so much. Thank you to Vasco. Vasco, thank you for translating Show Me São Paulo. It was awesome. Thank you to my family members that I met. I can't name all of you. There are too many, literally. Thank you so much. Claudia, thank you for actually finding our mother in Brazil. Like, honestly, mad respect. I myself could not do it, honestly. So thank you. And thank you for taking care of me while I was there. I would have not even been able to get from the airport to our hostel the first day. So thank you for picking me up. And the biggest thank you to my parents here in the Netherlands for giving me the chance to go to Brazil. Because all of what you guys have just seen, all of it has been made possible by my parents here in the Netherlands. And I really want to thank you for this, you know, opportunity and making this possible for me. And all I can say is thank you. Thank you all. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out. Whoa.